Hi, this is Shane Milling from the Lone Star Conference. Thank you for joining us. We're here with Texas A&M-Kingsville head baseball coach Jason Gonzales as part of Javelina Week. And Jason, the Lone Star Conference baseball polls just came out. Javelina's 7th, right smack dab in the middle. Last year, you guys finished 4th in the regular season, made it to the playoffs. I guess, obviously the polls don't mean a whole lot, but is that kind of where you figured you guys would be picked?
Well, I'm exactly sure where we were supposed to finish or supposed to be picked, and what we kind of always say is the polls are somebody else's opinion. Last year, I think we were picked to finish 9th in the conference, and we ended up finishing 4th. So we don't put a whole lot of stock in polls. If anything, we'll use it as a little motivation factor, the lack of respect from what we think thought we accomplished last year. But I had no expectations on where to be picked. The bottom line is where we're going to finish.
Right. Now, Abilene Christian, they've been picked, I read it said they've been picked first the last 13 years. Now, obviously, they haven't won the conference all those years, but once again, I'm sure they're going to be a tough team. Who are some of the other tough teams in the conference, and what is the hardest part about getting to the conference playoffs?
Well, first of all, with Abilene being picked to finish first out of the last 13 years or so, there's a reason. Those guys are good. They've got a great program over there. There's never any down years for those guys. If they're not winning it, they're going to be second, maybe even third, I guess on a bad year for them. But that just goes to show what a great program that those guys have created over there. The rest of the conference is, it's tough as well. Southeastern Oklahoma, they're tough every year. We have to go to their place this year. Angelo State is going to be at the top of the rankings every single season. And you've got Cameron, who's, we've had trouble with those guys. And then you throw in an Incarnate Word, who's been in the top of their conference in the last so many years. We've had our troubles with those guys, non-conference midseason as well. Tarleton is always tough. So, I mean, the toughest thing about this conference, it's you've got to play every single weekend. There's no off weekends. There's no weekends where you say, well, this ought to be a 2 out of 3 weekend. Anybody can be beat on any given weekend. So that's the challenge of it. That's the fun part of it. And so, we'll see where we fall.
How do you think the schedule this year, will it affect anything going from 4-game series to 3-game series?
Well, it will. The 4-game series it's physically tough. You're playing 4 games in a matter of 2 days. You're finishing late on a Friday night. You're getting up early Saturday morning. You're playing 2 more games. That 4th game actually becomes a little dangerous. I mean, you've got guys that have been out there for 48 straight hours playing baseball. So the difference is going to be that 3rd game. You're still going to have some pitching left. You're not going to see the 19 to 17 scores that you see so often on the 4th game on the end of the weekend. So it'll give you a chance to use your bullpen a little bit earlier than you normally would. In those 4-game series, you've got to be real strategic in terms of how you use your bullpen. You can't go to the bullpen in the 3rd inning of game 1. However, in a 3-game series, you can use those guys as often as you want.
And then finally, Coach, conference championship held every year at Abilene Christian. I guess, what are your thoughts on that? I know some people will complain that it's always going to be at the same spot, a school that wouldn't necessarily be the number 1 seed. What are your feelings towards having it at the same spot every year?
Well, I think at some point in time you'd like to see it moved around a little bit. But what we've got to keep in mind is that their facilities over there are second to none. I mean, they're the best in our conference, and there's not really a close second. And like you said, those guys are picked to finish first the last 13 years in a row. So until somebody else can improve their facilities or maybe be picked to finish first in a preseason poll, then it's going to continue to be at Abilene. Now, it is a little bit of an advantage. You're playing at home. Especially for us. I mean, we do a lot of traveling, and when we travel, we're going anywhere from 8 to 12 hours on a trip. So at some point in time, yeah, sure, we'd like to host it, but we've got to take care of some business first before we can put ourselves in that position, because that's what those guys do year in and year out. They're putting themselves in a position to where they host, and If they're not, even if they're not winning the conference tournament, they're usually in a pretty good position to get an at-large bid to go to a regional tournament. So until other schools continuously put themselves in that situation, we'll be going to Abilene every year.
All right, thank you, Jason, and good luck this season. Be sure to check back tomorrow as the Javelina week continues.